students who joined here. Once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you. And I would like to read the message from principals also. She has sent the message. Raniana Government College for Women started in the year 1970, has been a beacon for women higher education in southern Tamil Nadu. Here I would like to remind the words of Swami Vivekananda and education for women. As educate your women first and leave them to themselves, then they will tell you what reforms are necessary for them. In matters concerning them, who are you? Human society from days immortal has been witnessing oppression, marginalization, and high polarized human relationship on the basis of gender with an utmost effort to subjugate women. Patriarchy, the man-made manifestation of male domination, was a tool to repress women socio-economically in all the classes with the pretext of maintaining order in the society. The post-colonial scenario has visualized attempts to liberate women in India from the stereotype socio-cultural hegemony. The UN theme for the year 2024 is Inspire Inclusion. The day and theme are a continuous and conscious attempt to emphasize gender equality and to recognize the human work of women from all the cross-section of the society. Thus, the international webinar would serve as a platform to carry forward awareness, shaping public opinion and propaganda towards achieving women empowerment. Thank you. This is the message from principal.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Nadisha Gunawardana, Professor of History, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, to deliver special lecture on unveiling the legacy Sri Lankan women through the sands of time. Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. A. Thiba, Associate Professor and Head, PG and Research Department of History, Rani Annai, Government Art College, and Trinaveli, as well as Dr. R. Maheshwari, Associate Professor, and my friend, Muthukumar, whom I was invited to this program, Muthukumar, who's working in the Rani Annai Government College. So, as well as dear students, scholars, and the distinguished gathering. Let me to share my presentation. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So today I appear before you to shed lights on a topic that often remains overshadowed in the annals of history, unveiling the legacy, the Sri Lankan woman through the sands of time. In a way, here I speak the indispensable role of Sri Lankan women in ancient times. Particularly, I confined to a time limit of Anuradhapura period in Sri Lanka, which comes under the 6 BC to the 10 CE. Throughout history, the women have been the silent architects of society, contributing significantly to its progress and development, often without due recognition. As we dwell into the past, we uncover narratives of strength and remarkable achievements that have shaped the cultural fabric of Sri Lanka. Let us first journey back to the ancient period, where we explore the roles of women in both the Vedic and the post-Vedic societies, comparing them with the status of women in Sri Lanka. In the Vedic period, women in Indian subcontinent held a revered position. There were some scholarly women like Vishwara, Ghosha, and Apala, as we all know those names. They were respected as the epitomes of divine energy, embodying the virtues of purity, sacrifice, and wisdom. So, I would like to recite one stanza here. Prita rakshati kaumare, Bharta rakshati yavane, Rakshanti stavire putro, Stri swatantra marhati. She should be protected by father when she was small. Prita rakshati kaumare. Bharta rakshati yavane. She should be protected by her husband when she marries. Rakshanti stavire putro. She should be protected. Yes?
Please maximize your screen, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
1 second. Do it. Slide shown. Okay. Right. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, here I would like to recite the stanza, share a stanza with you, and which reflects the post-Vedic period. And the Pita rakshati kaumare, Bharta rakshati yavane, Rakshanti stavire putro, Stri swatantra marhati. Pita rakshati kaumare, she should be protected by her father when she was small. Bharta rakshati yavane, she should be protected by her husband when she marries. Rakshanti stavire putro, she should be protected by her sons when she is old. Stri swatantra marhati, there is no autonomy for her. So here I am going to share 3 stanzas with you. Then after that I decided to come to the Sri Lanka. So you can, I'm going to do a little comparison between Vedic, post-Vedic and the Sri Lankan, the culture. So there's another stanza called Darshanam Chitta Vaikalyan Sparashanam Dhananasana Sayane Marane Krutir Stri Pratyaksha Rakshasi. Darshanam Chitta Vaikalyan. Having seen a woman, one may get mad. Darshanam Chitta Vaikalyan. Sparashanam Dhananasana. Having touched a woman, one may lose money. Sayane Marane Krutir. Having slept with a woman, one may receive death. Stri Pratyaksha Rakshasi, woman is exactly a demon. My last stanza, which I have selected, Audumbaram Bhava Pushpang Shweta Varnasya Kakeyo Matsya Padan Jale Pashya Stri Chitta Navishvaset. Audumbaram Bhava Pushpang. If someone says the flowers bloom on the Attika tree, believe it. Shweta Varnasya Kakeyo. Shweta Varna. If someone says there are white crows, believe it. Matsya Padan Jale Patsya. If someone says there are footprints of fish in water, believe it. Sri Chittang Navishwate said, do not trust the women. And this is the situation at the end of the post-Vedic period. And we'll move to the Sri Lankan society. So, before the introduction of the Buddhism to Sri Lanka, there were some religious beliefs. They were called as pre-Buddhist religious beliefs. So, among these, when we study those pre-Buddhist religious beliefs, we can find out some the people venerated the yakshanis as well as the female deities. So I have selected only 2 examples from them. During the reign of King Pandukabhaya in the 5th BCE, He has housed the Yakshanis called Valavamuki within the royal precinct and made early sacrificial offerings to her and to the other Yakshas. And it is mentioned in the Mahavamsa in chapter 10. And as well, there is a female deity named Paschima the Western Queen, whom Pandukabil installed a house near the western gate of the city. So, before the introduction of the Buddhism, as well, the women were venerated in Sri Lanka. So, then I would like to move to the inscriptions which come under the Brahmi scripts. So when we study the Brahmi scripts, so the role of the women can be categorized into 7 parts. So in some inscriptions, the wives' names can be found out, and also the daughters, the mothers, sisters, as well as the aunts and female lay deities, the nuns. So the women role is tremendous when study the Brahmi inscriptions. So if we study 100 inscriptions, for an example, if we take 100 inscriptions of Sri Lanka, the Brahmi inscriptions, the 12 inscriptions belongs to the women. The most of the times, the women have donated caves to the monks. So, for an example, we can take the Panikkankulam inscription. From this inscription, it says, Bata Tisaha Mata. This is a Brahmi inscription which belongs to the 3rd BC to the 1st century CE. Bata Tisaha Mata. Mata means the Mata. Mata means the mother. Bata Tisa's mother. So the mother's name comes to the end of the sentence. So the Batatisa, the female character, comes to the first. So the mother of the Batatisa is indicates here. So I have selected another inscriptions which which we found out from the Damulla inscription. Damulla. So there are many inscriptions belongs to the Damulla, and I have selected 853. This is the number which published in the inscription of Ceylon. So this Brahmi script says that Gamika Vahaba Jitaha Parumukha Pushadeva Jitaha Lene Upashaka Sivaya Lene Upashika Sivaya Lene. So we'll see. Here also we can see the female character at the end of the sentence. Upashika. Upashika means the lay deity. Shiva is the lay deity. So, before mentioning her name, the 2 people have mentioned. So, the 2 female, male characters have are representing. So, look, the Gamika Vahaba Jitaya. Gamika Vahaba Jitaya. Jitaya means the daughter. So the daughter of the Gamika Vahaba. So the daughter of the Gamika Vahaba, as well there is another name. Parumukha Pusadeva Jayaya. Jayaya means wife. So the husband is the Parumukha Pusadeva. So by mentioning the father as well as the husband, so all these 2 people, by representing these 2 people, her name comes at the end. So this indicates that there was a patriarchal society. the society is the patriarchal. So it is indeed. So we can confirm that the society was patriarchal, but the women enjoyed much freedom by donating caves to the monks, as well as there were many philanthropists, the women philanthropists during this period in Sri Lanka. As well as, according to when study the Brahmi inscriptions, one of the administrative officer, the high-ranking officer was the Parumukha. So the women Parumukas, female Parumukas also there. It can be proved through inscriptions. The Parumukali, Parumukalu, all these names represent the women. So the same as the women played a considerable role in the administrative section as well. As well, in Brahmi inscriptions, the Abhi, the epithet Abhi also can be found out. The Abhi represent the princess. The prince, normally represent the epithet called Aya. So the opposite side of the Aya is the Abhi. So all these characters can be found out through the Brahmi inscriptions as well. So the ancient Sri Lankan society was a self-sufficient one. In this social system, women's duty were multifarious but unpretentious. Commentaries as exegesis of the Pali Tripitaka Sinhala literature works such as Saddharma Lankare, Pujavaliya, and Saddharma Ratnavaliya, and the archaeological sources such as inscriptions, sculptures, paintings, and the carvings too helped immensely in providing information. The ancient Indian society towards the women adopted a conservative attitude based on the firm beliefs that she was inferior to her male counterpart, both physically and mentally. She was not fit to hold any social responsibilities except for those required by their position as wife and mother. The ancient Sri Lankan woman elevated to a much higher position by the liberating influence of the Buddhism, not only held the above responsibilities, but also actively participated in her husband's economic activities with equal zeal. So as we all know, 3rd century BCE, the Mahinda Thero arrived to Sri Lanka, and he's the one who introduced the Buddhism. As well, the Ashoka's daughter, the Sanghamitta, also arrived to Sri Lanka during the 3rd century BC with the sapling of the bo tree. The economic system of the Anuradhapura period made a lot of demands from the female partner of the family. The wife played either an equal important role as a husband or a role of a secondary importance in earning a livelihood. Paddy farming was the major agricultural pursuit, where the work in the paddy fields was concerned. She always played a secondary role because she was responsible for cooking food, carrying it to the field, serving it to the workers. Providing the family necessities through agricultural and other pursuit was the man's responsibility. His labor was mainly expanded in the paddy field. The woman's work was primarily centered in and around the home. She handled the manifold chores or processing, preservation, and the preparation of food. She also looked after the garden plot. And here you can see the location of the Anuradhapura, the first capital city. in Sri Lanka, and it remained nearly 15, it started 1017 because of the Cholas invasion. It became collapse, and after that the second capital was the Anuradhapura, and it was selected by the Cholas. The men did all the tedious work which required the use of such heavy tools as mammoth axe, hatched, in sowing paddy, and in harvesting the ripened grain, and women played a supportive role. But after the harvest was brought home and stored, it was the woman who took charge of its storage, drying, pounding, polishing, cooking, and serving. Thus, all these activities were her responsibility. The entire economy, as far as food grains were concerned, was her burden. Wat Magula, the festival of the ceremonial inauguration of paddy cultivation, is one of the most important festivals in paddy cultivation. This was normally celebrated in the month of Wap, that means the October, and both men and women took part it with equal zeal. The paddy cultivation is a trade that requires a great deal of attention between sowing and harvesting. Much of the work arises from procedure of caring for the crop is the responsibility of the women. One of the most important of this category of work is Nelima. This work involves uprooting the paddy plants from place where they are in thick clusters and transplant them neatly in places where they are required, and weeding the plot at the same time. During the period, weedicides and the other chemicals were not available. Thus, this procedure kept the plot free of all unwanted plants without facing the risk of impregnating the grains with poison. Owing to the scarcity of labor and the urgency of the work, sometimes even mothers with the babies to nurse were called upon to help their husbands in cultivation. Nandimitra Vastu of the Saddharma Lankara narrates such a story. Protecting of the ripened crop was one of the duties carried out by women. The women who attended to this duty were mostly young girls, yet to attain their maturity. The work involved guarding the crop all day throughout the ripening month. Pujavali emphasizes the difficulty of the task in a piety description. Throughout the 30 days period it takes the paddy crop to ripe, one who guarding it must run from one corner to the other corner of the plot, shouting until her voice becomes hoarse, and without any rest must drive away such paddy-eating birds as doe birds and the parrots. The dry farming called Chena cultivation gave women a much more important place. Cleaning the plot and sowing it with grain was usually done by the male, but occasionally women also had to sow. The farmers cultivated highland paddy and often several other food crops like black flamingo, green grams, and the long beans and the variety of grams. Another duty assigned to the women was serving lunch to the workers in the paddy field. Even the ladies of royal blood were not exempted from this obligation. According to the tradition, The Princess Pali, daughter of the Girikanta Shiva, during the 5th century BCE, was accompanied by a large number of her attendants when she took food to hundreds of workers. Drying and threshing the paddy was almost entirely the work of women in ancient Sri Lanka. Putting together the harvest of a large stretch of paddy was an exhausting labor, and it tested the physical and mental stamina of the housewife. Therefore, all the women with any working capacity, except those decrepit or sick, shared the burden of this task. Sihalavattuppakarana describes how a poor woman named Chandra, being exhausted by pounding rice till late in the night, fell asleep on the pile of rice pounder she was working with. The Mihintala inscription of King Mahinda IV also referred to a woman pounding paddy. Almost all the vegetable requirements of the family were grown in the house garden, too, by the mistress of the home. In her garden, one could find a large number of nutritious and the delicious fruits such as mangoes, jack, bananas, and wood apple. The story in the Sihalavattuppakarana tells of how a certain woman obtained sap from a sugar cane grown in her own garden for the purpose of offering to the members of the order. Housewives used to preserve some sugar canes, jaggery, and sap in their home to be used to almsgiving and for the guest. Milking cows was another duty of the housewife or of the daughters of the house. Saddharma Lankara tells a story of a woman named Tissa who milked cows unfailingly at dawn and dusk every day. The wives of the potters living in villages helped the husband in several ways, fetching clay, providing firewood, and especially in turning the wheel, while the husband were busy with molding. The Mahavamsa tells of a large number of earthenware utensils made by professional potters. And Brahmi inscription discovered from Galkandegama and Hittaragama Hinna bear evidence to the existence of cotton weaving from the earliest period of Sri Lankan history. The Galkandegama inscription mentions a weaver's village, and both inscriptions refers to weavers. The spinning cotton yarns by Sri Lankan women dates back to the very beginning of the country's history. Prince Vijaya first met Kuveni at the foot of a tree where she was pretending to spin cotton. Commentaries too contain stories of beautiful women weavers. Maharatmale rock inscription refers to the production of silk garments. This shows that the weavers were skilled in weaving not only cotton but also as well. There were women who were able to spin threads as fine as spider webs. Then I would like to move to the Sigiriya. So let me introduce this to you. And this is Sigiriya. This comes under the 5th century BCE. And the King Kashyapa, who ruled 5th century CE. This comes to the 5th century CE. So it is parallel to the Gupta period in India. And King Kashyapa selected this rock as his and during this time the capital city was Anuradhapura, so he selected this place to build his palace there. So this is the top of the summit of the rock. And here you can see the palace complex. The palace complex surrounded by a protective parapet on the edge of the rock covers the entire 2.5 acres of space on the summit. And as well as the palace complex at the summit does indeed reflect the Kashyapa's genial lifestyle. And there also, here you can see one the pond as well. So this is only the foundation can be seen there, because this goes to the 5th century CE. And this is there's a very special place there. It is called the mirror wall. The mirror wall, and this is the polished wall. And after constructing this mirror wall, the people started writing graffitis there. So there are many graffitis, more than 900 graffitis were there, and these graffitis were published by the Professor Senarat Paranavitana. So there are many poems can be found out there. So the lifestyle of the people, as well as the culture and everything, is reflected from these poems. And there we can see 22, according to one poem, it indicates there were more than 500 female figures. But at present, we can see nearly 22. So it's really like it is some sort of a. So most probably you all might have visited to the Ajanta caves, Ajanta Ellora. So this is not like the Ajanta, but in Ajanta we already know the holes are very big. But here it is on the bend of the rock, we can see these female figures, the golden, green, and the dark-hued ones, the rock space pocket A and B. There we can see these figures. They are so beautifully described by the Sigiri poets. And they compare on the yellow women to a watercolor flower, and also the blue ones for the katarolu blooms, right? So these female figures represent the 5th century CE. And this is also the lady with the flowers. And the lady is holding a sunflower in her right hand and a bunch of the 3 flowers. The 2 red lotus buds and the red lily bloom in her left. She seems to wear a jacket of thin, transparent material, the heavy blossomed figure with the slender waist. And this is also another female figure in Sigiriya. And this is also the golden-hued damsel displaying an unusual pose with the head tilted and the eyes fixed towards a point in space. And these are also the other figures. So these colors most probably similar with the Chittanavasa. Sometimes I'm sure you might have visited this place, the Chittanavasa. The most of these colors are similar with the colors which is in the Chittanavasa. So, and this is another female character, the glowing eye and the raised eyebrows are there. So, and this is the distant look, another female figure, the face. And these are the other things. So you can see the way they carry the flowers and the way they wear their dresses, and as well as they are with the jewelries. And I have selected And here you can see in the left side, the female figures which represent the Ajanta is in the left side. And in the right side, you can see the female faces, the way representing Sri Lanka. And this is the seated female at Vesagiriya, the 5th century. And this is just a sketch. And this is from the Tara. We guess this is Tara at Kandalam. And this is also a mural from Mahiyangana relic chamber. And from the Sikiri graffiti furnishes evidence to the existence of the professional laundresses in ancient Sri Lanka. One visitor from distance, Veldigama, wondered how a washerman found a place among the golden skinned beauties on the rock wall. So the above facts discussed so far reveal that the ancient Sri Lankan woman did not devote her time only to bring up children and to the culinary duties, even as the present day women are employed in various capacities while attending to the duties at their own homes. Ancient Sri Lankan women too attended their duties as wives, mothers, while contributing to the economic prosperity of their homeland. Those who were specialists in making dainty dishes and drinks of sweet, sour, and the salty flowers were called Madhupachika. The women born with the gifts of cooking were called Madhurahattarasa. So there were women in different, engaged within different activities during the Anuradhapura period. So, however, it should be mentioned that owing to the facts that the information available from sources, in scanty, it is not possible to say definitely what grades or what type of work women were expected to do or to what extent they performed these duties. Nevertheless, the ancient Sri Lankan society was undoubtedly patriarchal one. So even today, as previous as in the ancient times, the women work is unpretentious and it's tremendous. And even today, so if you visit the hill country, so you can see the way the women work and with the way they contribute to the development of the economy in Sri Lanka. To wind up my speech, the last but not the least, I would like to wind up my speech with one Sanskrit stanza, which indicates the qualities of 6 qualities that should be possessed to a woman. This stanza indicates. So this stanza says, Karyeshu dasi karaneshu mantri. Bojeshu mata kshamayeshu datri. Rupeshu lakshmi sayanesu ramba shaddharma yutta gunadharma patini. Let me explain what is it. Karyeshu dasi. Women should work as a dasi. Women should work as a servant. Karyeshu dasi. Karaneshu mantri. So when pointing out the things, she should represent as a minister. Karyeshu mantri. Bojeshu mata. She should give food to the others as a mata. She should give food as a mother to the others. Bodheshu Mata, Kshamayeshu Datri. She should bear the tolerance. Kshamayeshu Datri. She should bear the any sort of a tolerance. Right? She should be strengthened enough to bear all the everything which she faced. Rupeshu Lakshmi, she should be beautiful as a Lakshmi. Sayanesu Ramba, she should sleep as a Ramba on the bed. She had to behave as a Ramba on the bed. And Saddharma Yutra, Gunadharma Patini. These are the 6 qualities which indicates by a woman, the good woman. So let me wind up my speech here, and thank you so much for inviting me to share my knowledge with you. Thank you so much, Professor, Associate Professor Muthukumaran, for inviting me for this vibrant occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you have any clarification, raise the symbol of chat box.
Pardon?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening me and paying your attention to my speech, and thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Dr. K. Sangari, Professor and Head, Department of History, Annamalai University, to deliver a special lecture on liberating women from pioneering chains, paving way to achieve progress.
Hello? Hello? Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
can I start the share?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. It's a pleasure to me to be the part of the international webinar organized by Rani Anna Government College for Women, Tirunelveli, under the auspices of, on the occasion of International Women's Day, 8th March 2024. Before going into the discussion, I have to record my wishes as well as thanks to respected Principal Rani Anna Government College for Women, Tirunelveli, the members of the organizing committee, Dr. Deepa, Associate Professor and Head, Department of History, Rani Anna College, Tirunelveli, Dr. Maheshwari, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Rani Anna College, Tirunelveli, Dr. Muthukumar, Associate Professor, Rani Anna Government College, Tirunelveli, and Professor Nadesha Gunavardhane, the special invitee, the resource person, Professor of History, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, as well as interactive participants. First, I convey my Women's Day greetings to each and everyone associated with this academic task, that is in one day international webinar being organized by the Department of History, Rani Anna Government College, Tirunelveli. This day is special to me. I hope that because of 2 counts. The international webinar is being organized to share the accomplishment, the pleasure, and the pain of the women community in general. Hope that this type of sharing related to women would inspire as well as enthrall us to reach the exalted height. I think that it would be an inspiration to us to reach the exalted height. So under this, I feel that this is a special day, a momentous moment in the history of my life. Second thing, why the day is so special. Historically as well as factually speaking, the misogyny, the anti-woman sentiments as well as approaches have been losing its grip as well as shrinking its tentacles because of the support rendered by the men community, particularly our fathers, brothers, sons, husbands, as well as enormous good hearts. We are reaching at a level because of the support rendered by side the men community, the men folk. But under this provocation, I take this opportunity to thank such a type of wonderful supporters, the men community. With this, I have to start my deliberation entitled How to Break the Binary Chains, the Binary Demarcations, the Binary Indexes. First, we have to break the traditionally cultivated attitudes as well as traits. Suppose we have to break the binary based attitudes, we can accelerate progress. That's why there is a necessity to break the binary chains, The first we have to concentrate on what is the need for breaking the culturally fixed traits. In each and every society, that is masculinity as well as femininity have been fixed by the aptitude of the society. The masculinity as well as femininity is varying from societies to societies, culture to culture. For example, in general, across the world, masculinity refers to strength, courage, independence, assertiveness, leadership, ambitiousness, dominance, rational, competitiveness, tough, violence, etc., etc. These are the qualities for men fixed by the culture or the society. On the other side, the femininity is stereotyped with the qualities of sensitivity, possessiveness, humility, empathy, affection, modesty, feebleness, weak, etc., etc. But these are the qualities fixed by the societies as well as culture. But according to anthropological studies, these are having no scientific proofs. It is not scientifically proved. There is no science behind this type of fixation of qualities by the societies or cultures. The anthropological study also says that cultural norms are playing a greater role in fixing this type of traits, not biological. These type of traits are not biological. It is not inherent, but fixed by, determined by the societies or the cultures throughout the course of the period. There is an example that it has been reported in anthropological magazine. The study is based on Neolithic cave painting which dates back to 8000 BC. The painting was located at Cantabria in Spain. There was a painting that is Neolithic cave painting located, identified at Cantabria in Spain. The painting, cave paintings, that is, men were more focused, presented more and more than women, and at the same time, the paintings reflects that indirectly the men were more courageous as well as violent, both by physical as well as intelligent. This is a message from the painting, which belongs to 8000 BC. After analyzing the painting, one anthropologist by name Genta Lehner has expressed that these type of traits designed by culture or societies is never be accepted because it is not scientific, but not biologically determined. So these type of the traits are not biologically determined. It is fixed by the society for its own sake, not for the sake of the particular individual woman or the particular individual man. Already you know that is a ringmaster training a wild animal into a domestic. Similarly, that is women in the societies, whatever may be, trained likewise. That means in other ways, in other term, that is women have been tainted, contaminated. We have been contaminated that we are weak, we are possessive, we are feeble, that is, we are not having any responsibility likewise. That is, this is wrongly projected. We have been wrongly projected. So this type of binary projection must be broken by us. This is the message we have to take on the occasion of the International Women's Day. Next thing, that is, we are constituting about 50% of the total population across the world in general. But the women community has been indulging in household works like cooking, cleaning, washing, shopping, child care, caring for sick and the aged. But for this, we are not paid. We are branded as unpaid laborers. We are sparing our energy. We are sparing our time. We are sparing our skill. We are sparing our intelligence, but not paid. But means we are cheated by the society or we are cheated by the particular family. For example, in India, a woman spends 7 hours per day, but a man is spending less than 3 hours per day. So in order to honor the women, already the government of Tamil Nadu has launched a program, a scheme, that is Women's Basic Income Scheme. The government of Tamil Nadu recently in the year 2023 launched a scheme, that is Women's Basic Income Scheme. By that scheme, that is, household women is given 1,000 rupees per month. Apart from that, the Madras High Court held that housemakers, that is, must give an equal share in the household properties purchased by the husband. because the wife is sharing the load of the husband. So there are schemes to support the so-called unpaid women, but still we are indulging in the same household task. Even in the formal sector, we have been cheated directly or indirectly. We are not provided equal share. We are not constituting the equal level on par with the men. For example, 27% of men, that is women only constituting as in the work as a workforce in India. As per the data 2022, that is only 27% of women is termed as workforce in the formal sector. In the formal sector, in that is men and women aged between 15 and 64, as per the data of 2015, men had an employment rate of 70.8%, but the women only 60.4%. There is a gender gap that is 10.4. This type of gender gap, the binary gap, making us to be ever slave. So under this, we have to be very conscious, very alert. We have to think rationally. That is, this gap must be filled by our participation in as workforce. Similar incidents are happening across the world, but in the case of Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and other countries are providing equal as well as always maintaining gender balanced employment opportunity. This type of countries, which are very serious, provide more gender balanced employment opportunities. For example, Germany is providing reasonable amount to the homemakers like that of Tamil Nadu. So either formal or other, the gap is there. That should be filled by our effectiveness. That is, we have to accelerate our progress by means of participating equally that of man in the formal as well as other sectors as workforce. In this way, that is the concept of unpaid laborers may be eradicated. The concept, the practice of unpaid laborers, the women, must be eradicated from our society and the societies across the world. Another thing is the level of owning the property. Either the women really owning the property or enjoying the property, right, or not. The issue of property right for women is historical. I would like to refer again a report published in the journal, European Journal of Archaeology. The report in the journal has said that binary or gender gap had its root when the societies were abandoning their wanderlust in favor of agricultural settlements. Further, the study also says that in the Neolithic culture, in the Scandinavian countries, there persists the practice of exploiting women in the concept of ownership. The property is owned by man who was considered as topmost in the hierarchy, but those who were not enjoying the property was not considered as superior but feeble. This report is based on the analysis of about 500 graves, dates back to 8000 BC. There were 500 graves in Spain. As already said, they belongs to the period 8000 BC. Majority of the bodies were that of men. About 198 graves were belonging to men. But comparatively speaking, out of 500 graves, that is, the women's were less. Next point is the men were buried with metal objects like that of arrowheads and other things, but women were with ceramics. So it obviously speaking that there was a criteria to determine who is powerful, who is superior, who is decision maker. So according to this study, the authors of the study has said that the gender gap, the binary gap started to exist when the people started to accumulate wealth. The men began to accumulate more wealth as he was branded as breadwinner. But the same society did not allow women to indulge along with the men. So automatically there emerged some gap. This is a report or a message from the report in the European Journal of Archaeology, published in the year 1990. But on the other side, the society is attempting, the government is attempting to assure some property right to women. For example, the Magna Carta of 1215 had given property right to women in England. Next, there is a historical evidence. It is our practice. We are historians. It is our practice that whatever may be the concept, whatever may be the topic, whatever may be the title, whatever may be the concept, we have to deal it with the rudimentary stage. So the clash between ownership among the men and the women had existed by the time of 8000 BC. And on the other side, because of the dissemination of feminism, the government, the authorities began to assign some rights, property rights to man. As already said, the Magna Carta 1215 ascertains some property right to women. In the case of Tamil Nadu, during the Cholas, the women were getting some right to own the property in the name of Stridhana. There are a number of epigraphical evidences. In the recent past, the Married Women Property Right Amendment Act was enforced in the year 2005. It deals with the possibility of the right by the women code in India. But this act is in practice. Even recently, the Tamil Nadu government declared some declaration that the men are eligible to enjoy the property right of the parents. But literally speaking, we are not enjoying the property right. But really, there is a big question. Literally, there are laws, there are acts, there are measures to enforce the Property Right Act. But in practical, in reality, there is a big question. Either we are enjoying the property right as per the direction of the government or the judiciary. So the gap must be filled. It is easy to fill the gap. It is easy to enjoy the property. That is, we are nowadays speaking about modernization. Modernization is nothing but equality, enjoyment of rights, and everything. So we are having some hold, that is education. Suppose we have to earn, we have to own. So either we have been given by the act, definitely we can enjoy the rights. We can we can own the property. No problem. That is, we are given some potential, that is education and employment. So we are capable of earning. Definitely we can own property. So there is a little bit gap here and there because of the binary brand that should be broken. Suppose this type of binary gaps are being broken, automatically we have to accelerate ourselves the progress. Similarly, there are also a number of binary demarcations, particularly like that of property right. There are acts, measures by the government, but it is impossible to enjoy by us. Next, in the arena of politics, Constitution is guaranteeing the political rights, the democratic rights. Suppose we are taking a survey of the countries across the world, Sweden, Norway, Finland, the women representation in politics is higher. But at the same time, in some of the countries, particularly Saudi Arabia, there the women participation in public life, political life is very, very lowest. This may be considered as a binary gap, a binary demarcation that should be shattered, that should be eroded. So through this simple deliberation, I have to insist that we have to shatter whatever may be the demarcation, whatever may be the symptom, in the name of gender, we have to fight against them. Comparing some of the countries with India, the countries like Sweden, France, Italy, Australia, USA, Turkey, and Denmark, we are also speaking about feminism. We are also associated with the feminist movement in India, but there is a list. In the list, the India is not included. The feminist countries in the topmost list are the Sweden, France, etc., etc. We Indians, we India should be in the list of most feminist countries in the world. This should be our aspiration. We have to recollect this message on the occasion of International Women's Day. To sum up, as per Theosophy, which is nothing but a truth, a world truth, which has said that by the time of existence, each and every one, men or women, have been provided with the latent potential. It is biological. The potential, that is knowledge, the wisdom is biological. That is enough to survive as well as to reach the exalted height. So we have to have this message from Theosophy as well as another message based on the archaeological study, that is the whatever may be the binary traits that is not by culture or society, that is by biological. So the archaeological study as well as Theosophy jointly demonstrate thunder that women are biologically gifted, biologically given some strength, knowledge, wisdom, etc., etc. That's why we have to think over the skill, strength, knowledge, wisdom, etc., etc. There is no need to consider binary codes, binary ethics, the so-called binary ethics, which it is need of our the binary codes, the traditionally designed binary codes must be decoded. We are historians, we are practicing history. It is our responsibility to decode the binary, the so-called binary codes. The binary codes, if they are against humanity or womanhood, that should be eroded. With this simple message, I would like to wind up my deliberations. Once again, I have to convey my Women's Day greetings as well as thanks to the organizing committee, especially the principal, Rani Anna Government College, Tirunelveli. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This is the time for clarification. If you have any inquiries, please raise the hand symbol in chat box.
I am ready to get questions and also for putting clarifications. If you are ready to post any question or clarification, I am also ready. This is the purpose of the webinar. We have to get some enlightenment.
Ma'am, just I have a query. Can I ask?
Okay.
This is Dr. Mannapalli Gundala, Assistant Professor from History, Northeastern Hill University, Meghalaya. Ma'am, while observing every time, we are comparing women rights with only 10%, 20%, about the reservation 33%. Why don't you go for more than 50%?
That is we are half of the population.
Yeah, the women have
100% whatever may be the privilege or the rights.
Why only 20-30?
Not that equal proportion, equal rights, equal chance. Otherwise, we never empower.
Yeah, that is the only thing I am asking, ma'am. The women are equal in the society, in front of the justice, in front of the God.
Equal.
Women should ask the 50% of the share in everything.
Okay, that is
While in our lectures also, while delivering the lectures, they are asking now the 33% has not been there and the 20% is not been there, like that. They are asking, why don't we ask for the 50%? That is the only my question, ma'am.
that is gradually, it will be achieved. Gradually, we are trying to reach the exalted heart, enjoying the 100%. We are hoping for the same.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We
Thank you,
really
thank you.
enjoyed your speech. I hope this webinar has fulfilled the expectation. Thank you, ma'am.